Hello. Sorry, gotta take care of my dog. We're getting started in just a second. All right, well, we might as well get started. Evening, I'm Dr. Chris Knutson, classical naturopath. I'm going to share a couple things tonight about some good cold and flu remedies. And there's been a couple people with us so far, but hopefully a couple more will join us as we go along. So it's a little late in the season, but I know there's a lot of cold and flu left to go, especially in the Midwest with all the snow we've been getting lately. But yeah, it's never too late for a couple of remedies that are going to help out with helping with your family, kids, deal with colds, flus, get over them a little bit easier. So I'm going to talk about a few things. First off, I want to mention how a lot of people these days, this month, I've been hearing a lot of folks have been having a lot of sinus issues, especially with the very dry air in this area, in the Midwest especially. I know in New York and areas like that, they're having some issues with that too. But with these sinus issues, a lot of people have been getting some sinus infections. And easiest thing for that, if you're, since you're with HTE, everyone here is pretty much going to be, probably the easiest thing you can do is actually use the hot house. As long as there's no fevers going on, you can actually put the hot house, the ceramic heater, right over your head for about, 10 minutes at a time, 10 to 15 minutes at a time. And that in itself can actually help with certain sinus infections. Other than that, we're going to cover a bunch of different herbal and nutritional things that can help with sinuses, colds, flus, all that sort of thing. So another thing people are really complaining about right now is sore throats, having to do with whether it's the dry air, coming with colds and flus, strep throat, all those different things. So there's a couple simple remedies that can be used. Pretty much everything in them is easy things you're going to have in your house. And if you don't, you can get them at pretty much any supermarket. So the first one, say you have a sore throat, or even your kids, super easy stuff that's even good for kids. First one is actually a cough syrup made with, guess what? It's onions and honey. That sounds pretty odd, but it works pretty well. And it actually tastes pretty good. Pretty simple. Pretty much all you do is take a medium-sized onion, coarsely dice it up, put it in a jar, and pour in just enough honey to just cover the onion. If you want, you can throw a slice of fresh ginger or something like that in for flavor, and throw it in the fridge. You leave it for a few hours to a day. The honey will actually extract all of the medicinal components out of the onion, change the flavor so it doesn't just taste like, sweet onion sauce, and will actually create one of the best cough syrups that I know of. You take that by the spoonful as needed. If you want an extra kick, believe it or not, you can actually throw a little cayenne pepper in there. So just a little bit of cayenne pepper, a little pinch of cayenne pepper, actually is very soothing for sore throats. It brings a little extra blood to the throat, heals things up a little quicker, really good for strep throat. So here's one little thing that you can do. Again, just simple onions and honey. They're pretty easy. Another one, and I'm not trying to promote any specific brands or anything like that. I'm just going to tell you some of the things that I use because they work for me and my family. So I'll mention a couple brands of different things, but I'm not promoting anything. I'm not getting paid anything for promoting any brands. It's just that I've found that some of these things work really, really good. So one of my favorites is if you've got sore throat, strep, anything like that, especially if people are losing their voice, one of the easiest things to do is get what's called lemon Zinger Tea from Celestial Seasonings. Pretty much every supermarket is going to have it. It's pretty common across the country. And you steep it nice and strong. It comes in tea bags, so it's real easy to make. Steep it nice and strong, maybe 5 minutes, and then add a large portion of honey, 2 or 3 tablespoons of honey, so it's super thick and almost too sweet. By doing that, you almost create a lemony cough syrup just with that, just the honey and the tea. And that honey and tea in itself can actually be really, really beneficial for restoring the voice. I know there's several times that family members of mine have lost their voice. I myself, recently, I came back from Mexico, had a little bit of a lung infection, lost my voice, and that helped bring it back pretty good. Helped kill off the infection pretty fast too, so it worked really, really good. So yeah, again, that's just lemon zinger tea from Celestial Seasonings. Make it really strong, put in some honey, works great. And you can even make it like a cough syrup. You do half tea, half honey, take it by the spoonful as you need it. Pretty amazing stuff. Say you've got strep in your house. I know when you've got kids, that's always a problem. It comes and goes continually. Really easy. Some kids don't like this. It's a little spicy, but especially for older kids, junior high school age, works really great. Take about a tablespoon of honey, a clove of minced garlic, so just crush up the garlic, and just a pinch, maybe 1/16 to an 1/8 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Mix that up into kind of a syrup and just take it by the spoonful. It'll kill strep throat faster than just about anything I know. I'm not a super big fan of antibiotics. I'm not going to tell you not to use them because sometimes you have to. But this is an easy one to start with. When it's just coming on especially, you can kind of sometimes use that to kind of knock things down a little bit. So works pretty good. A couple more things I'm going to tell you guys about. Again, we're going to kind of stick with the theme of colds, flus, coughs, all that kind of stuff. So we talked about some stuff for coughs. We talked about a couple things. We talked about something for strep, really simple. For kids, again, I'm going to focus on kids here for a second because they're the most difficult when you're doing in the wintertime. If you don't want to go straight to the doctor, if you don't know what you're going to use for them, simple things that especially little kids can use that isn't going to be problematic, because that's always tough. A couple things you can use that are very beneficial. One of them is, this is the difficult word, and I'll type it out for you. It's a homeopathic remedy. And it's from the Boiron brand. So the brand is, I'll type it out here. Brand is Boiron. And the product is called acylococcinum. Don't try and say that 3 times fast. You'll probably hurt yourself. I know I did. But this stuff right here, you can go to any health food store just about and ask for acilo. You don't even have to know the proper full way to spell it or pronounce it. Just ask for the homeopathic product acilo. It's a little pellet and just melts in the tongue. Pretty much doesn't have any flavor, kind of sweet. Works great for kids. It's a great flu reducer, flu killer, especially with little ones if you couple it with elderberry syrup. Elderberry is a great immune booster. It helps, kind of build their system, helps it fortify it against colds, viruses, infections, things like that. And it works great for adults too. We've had several flus come through. I know every year we get a different cocktail of flus. We've had a couple flus come through that have responded amazingly to a combination of acylococcinum, the homeopathic, and elderberry syrup. The elderberry is building the immune system. The acilo is helping kill the flu, and the combination works really good to help turn things around, reduce the issues. So, and it works great for kids. Elderberry syrup tastes great. Kids love it, and really simple thing that you can use for them. Kind of a standard thing that you can use for cold and flu season is echinacea. Echinacea is a Native American herb, grows here, wild, it's purple coneflower, and you can find millions of different teas made at your health food stores and whatnot, millions of different packaged teas made with echinacea. Echinacea is one of the best immune boosters you're going to find. Echinacea, whether it's a tea or a capsule, a lot of times you can find it as a capsule. Easy way to build your immune system up, especially leading into flu season, but even during flu season when things are going on, you can start using echinacea tea early on, start building up the system. And by doing that, you can actually fortify your system against colds and flus. Even during the season, you can start reducing your likelihood of getting colds and flus by starting to use the echinacea and things like that. Echinacea is one of the best you're going to find. Again, and it's not expensive either, pretty affordable. One of my favorites that we use in my family, it's got echinacea in it. It's actually got a lot of these things we've mentioned actually in it. There's a product called the Wellness Formula. It's by Source Naturals. Again, I'm not getting paid by any of these supplement companies. I'm just telling you what works for my family. It works really good. So Source Naturals, it's called Wellness Formula. You can get it in tablets, capsules, whatever. Works really, really good. It's got a component in it called Yin Chow. Yin Chow is a Chinese combination. It's been around for thousands of years. And it is one of the best fortifiers against colds, flus, seasonal illnesses in general that I've ever found. You can find Yin Chow on its own. That's called Yin Chow. There we go. Typed it in for you. Very, very simple stuff. It's, again, you can use it in capsules, tablets, pills, whatever. Pardon me if you can hear my dog whining in the background. She really wants to come and see the computer. Yeah, so the Yin Chow contains a handful of Chinese herbs, really powerful for boosting the immune system, killing viruses, bacteria, flus, and fortifying your system against seasonal changes. It's a good thing to use even now that we're going to be going into spring. With spring fevers and colds coming around, it's a really good way to boost your system and fortify it in advance against those different, ailments that are going to be coming up, even hay fever and things like that. You can kind of get your system a little bit stronger as we're heading towards spring too. So these wellness formulas that I'm telling you about, they have this Yin Chow in them. So it's an easy way to get it. You can find Source Naturals products in most health food stores. My favorite, and this is actually the favorite of my family as well, is one of the products called Wellness Fizz. It's little seltzer tablets, pretty good tasting, dissolve in water and you can just drink it down. You don't have to drink down any capsules or tablets or swallow anything like that. You can just dissolve this stuff, drink it down. It's kind of a fizzy drink, not lots of sugar or anything like that. And I tell you, is one of the best things for preventing colds, flus, ailments like that. Anyone in my house, they're coming down with anything, they're feeling like they're getting a little bit run down, they start taking that, and 9 times out of 10, they don't even get anything. By the next day, they're feeling fine. So lots of great things. Again, we've talked about a couple things so far. We talked about that Wellness Fizz for helping prevent colds and flus. We've talked about echinacea, elderberry syrup. We've talked about homeopathic acetylcoccinum. We've talked about onion honey syrup and the lemon zinger, the tea syrup. Works really, really good. One more thing I'm going to tell you about. This is a favorite in my house. Best thing if you feel flu coming on, especially if you feel a flu coming on, we call it the flu bomb. And it's called that for a reason. It's pretty powerful stuff. But if if you got some gumption, it works amazing. So it's somewhere between a tea and a soup. You can kind of use it either way. The flu bomb is a simple tea. Everything in it you can find 4 main ingredients, you can find in just about any kitchen anywhere in the world. And so super, super easy. So I'm going to type this in for you as well, just so you have a little bit of a reference here. It's in 1 cup of water. So we'll type in 1 cup water. You boil an 1/8 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. So it's got a kick to it. Ooh, that's not how you write an 1/8. I almost put a question mark in there. It's kind of hard to talk and type at the same time for you folks, but hey, it's worth it. 1/8 teaspoon cayenne. 3 cloves of garlic minced. So 3 cloves of garlic. And about an inch-long chunk of fresh ginger. So you want to get a fresh ginger root, and you want to cut off about an inch chunk and kind of dice it up. So about 1 inch chunk fresh ginger diced, and about the amount of lemon juice you get out of about 1/2 a lemon. So it'd be a tablespoon or 2. So juice of 1/2 lemon. Oops, limon. I'm spelling it French now. So 1/2 lemon. Boil 5 minutes. So super simple. So that's a really easy thing. I just typed that in there so you folks can reference it, write it down. Definitely write this one down. It's the best one that I know. So seems too easy. It seems way too easy. But what's in it? I actually learned this from a naturopath in Australia while I was over there. And so, it's got some stuff to it. It works really, really good. Cayenne pepper helps boost your circulation. So kind of like when using the hot house or the chi machine, you're increasing the circulation. Sometimes when you have fevers or when you have just achy things like that. You don't always necessarily want to be shaking around like on the Chi machine or anything like that. So something like the flu bomb can help still increase your circulation, increase the oxygenation of your body, and boost your core temperature just a little bit in cases of colds and whatnot. And even when the flu is just coming on, before fevers have hit, you can use this, boost your core temperature a little bit to fight those infections, kill things off a little bit. It's the garlic will help kill viruses, funguses, pathogens, bacteria, you name it. Garlic is one of the best natural antibiotics you're going to find. Garlic also helps boost your immune system, increase your circulation, and your digestive capacity. So any undigested material that could be causing problems, issues, gas, upsets along with colds or flus, it'll help stimulate that to get digested. So it works really, really nice. Other ingredient, ginger. So anyone who's seen the HTE product SOQI knows a little bit about how amazing ginger can be. Ginger boosts your circulation, improves your core temperature, improves your digestion, stimulates oxygenation, and it stimulates absorption of nutrients. So when you're having your grandma's chicken noodle soup while you got the cold or flu, if you're not absorbing it super well, it's not going to be that helpful. But if you're using something like the flu bomb, got some ginger in there, it's going to enhance absorption of those nutrients so that you recover faster. You get more out of that chicken noodle soup, and it tastes better. And the lemon, again, just put some alkaline nutrients, alkaline minerals in the mixture, make it a little easier to absorb. So pretty much just throw everything in a pot, boil it for 5 minutes, strain it off, and sip on it like a tea. It's got a little bit of a zing to it, so I know everyone in my area in the Midwest, they kind of balk a little bit when they see that. They kind of get a little nervous. Ooh, Cayenne, that's going to be really hot. It's not too bad. If you've ever had Cajun cooking down south, that's way hotter than this is. It gives just a nice little warmth to the throat, so if you've got a sore throat, it can help soothe the sore throat. And again, it helps if you feel a cold, you feel a flu coming on, start sipping on this stuff right away. Again, I wrote the recipe right there, about as easy as it gets. And it'll help actually kill things way faster, stop the cold and flu, all that seasonal issues like that before they even start. I will say, just for those of you that might be interested out there, in my family, sometimes they have to suffer some less than tasty formulas, some less than tasty supplements that are going to help them, but it works really good. In cases like where a person might have a very light fever, along with the flu bomb, if you're adventurous and you do a little bit of research, you could even add a small amount of such herbs as yarrow or bone set. Those are simple herbs you can find, just about anywhere. Those are yarrow or bone set. You can find yarrow at just about any health food store, and if not, I'm sure they can get it for you. That's the easy one to get. However, if you are my family and you have to suffer when I'm treating them, yarrow is horrendously bitter, I will tell you right now. And you put that in the flu bomb, you got the heat and the bitterness, and usually my family would rather just have the flu than drink it. So probably don't make your family suffer through that. Use the standard flu bomb recipe that I gave you, and it'll work way, way better. So one last thing I want to mention to you guys before we finish up here is we are going to be heading into spring here in the next couple weeks. We're going to be having a lot of flowering trees, a lot of flowering plants, depending on where you live throughout the country. And seasonal allergies begin to become a problem this time of year. First line of defense is bee pollen and honey. I know that seems kind of strange. Everyone thinks, pollen, but that's what I'm allergic to. Yes, but you're allergic to what you're inhaling. So when you inhale pollen, your body can't produce any antibodies against it. It just reacts because it can't do anything, so it just tries to get rid of it. So if you ingest that pollen, your body can then recognize it and produce antibodies against it so it knows what it is. So when you inhale it, the body doesn't react the way it used to. It takes some time for this to work. So I would suggest if you were going to do this, we do it with my family every year. Works really, really great. Thank you. Works really, really good. You just go to your local, if you got beekeepers around or even just health food stores in your area, go looking for bee pollen. Or local honey. Local honey works really good as well if it's local raw honey, because if you cook it, it destroys the pollen, breaks it down, your body can't use it, recognize it. So if you get raw honey or local pollen and start using small amounts of it, maybe if you're using the pollen, maybe half teaspoon in the morning, once a day, for a couple of weeks leading into spring, your body will have time to start building some antibodies against it, and you'll be able to, probably go into spring with less issues. Again, it's not a guarantee. The best is if you have honey from your area or pollen from your area because then it's going to have the same pollens of the flowers and the trees that grow in your area. If you just order it online, especially if it's like coming from California or Hawaii or something like that, there's going to be a lot of pollens in there that don't occur in your area. Your body won't be building antibodies that it needs, not going to be super helpful. So you really want to get things that are going to be from your area, going to be local, so your body can recognize them and build antibodies against it. Again, even the honey works. Use a little bit of honey. One caution I will give you: if you start using local bee pollen, or any bee pollen for that matter, bee pollen can be highly energizing, which some people will like. Bee pollen contains a lot of nutrients and tons of, ironically, B vitamins, especially niacin, vitamin B3, vitamin B2, a bunch of things like that. Contains a lot of really rich vitamins, a lot of rich nutrients, and tons of packed energy. Again, this is what the bees survive on during the winter, is they feed on this pollen, and it keeps them going the entire winter. So, thank you. And so, you know, this is super nutrient packed, and it will give you energy. Even just a half teaspoon a day will give you tons of energy. So if you're all of a sudden bouncing off the walls and don't know why, that's probably why. So do keep that in mind. It is a great energizer, but it is a great nutrient. And so by using it, you can boost your system. And another great fact, it helps our beekeepers. Everybody's got to help the beekeepers these days. We're having a lot of issues with our bees, and just had to throw that in there. The more local honey, the more local pollen, things like that you can buy, the better you're going to help beekeepers, and the better you're going to help our bees. I love bees. That's just my thing. I love bees. So again, bee pollen is a great thing to start using as we're going into spring. And, you know, any of these things that I mentioned to you, again, that wellness formula from Source Naturals, Yin Chow, the Chinese formula, all of those things you're going to, you know, are really helpful for seasonal issues. So these are things that you can start using now, start using with your family. Any of the things that I've mentioned here, everything that I've mentioned here is safe for kids, is safe for the elderly. Again, elderly folks, if they're on medications or things like that, better check with a, you know, health practitioner before you start mixing things, because some things don't mix nice with certain meds. So be cautious there. Anytime you're using anything, you know, new, anything natural, check with your healthcare provider, whoever that is, just to make sure that it works for you, because you never know. You don't want anything weird to happen. Chances of anything weird happening with natural products is pretty slim, but it's best to have, you know, best to check with somebody who knows anyway. Always better safe than sorry. So there we go. I've covered a whole bunch of things for you, a bunch of cold and flu remedies, things to help prevent colds and flus. And with that, I guess we'll be wrapping up here. Thanks everybody for listening in, and I hope you found this information interesting. So until next time, thanks and stay healthy.